Okay, so it's time for other media, and as usual, I'm going to start first. On my list, obviously, I could say all I want about Magi, but um, you guys watch the manga section and see my review of that, my overview, I guess, plus the new chapter. But that's so I won't say anything about that. Let's see. I've been trying to get back into Gintama for like the fifth time. I I find myself going back to it, like to try to get back into it, to just power through it, and then I drop it for a while, and then I get back into it. It's
Eventually, you'll get it done.
Yeah, eventually I'll finish it. I kind of like set it up where I just watch a couple episodes a night before I go to sleep, and that seems to work okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's it for anime for now. We might get something new soon though, and drop it again now. I don't know. Um, Movies, I don't watch shit in terms of movies. I don't watch that many movies anymore. I used to watch a whole bunch of them, but I just don't anymore.
What
Games,
about games? What have you been played any games this week?
pretty much the usual. Still been playing the Souls games here and there.
And then your streamed games.
Stream games. Of course, if you guys have been following my stream, I had major setback with Ocarina, but I finally got back to where I was, like for the fifth time, where I finally didn't lose my file and then stupid shit happening.
Yeah.
And so tomorrow we can finally get back on track. Friday
Tomorrow, don't you mean today?
No.
Because remember, well, yeah, because by the time this gets out, it'll be Friday.
Oh, well, I guess so.
Point is that hopefully
Tomorrow, as of this recording, today, as of when this is released, it'll be back on track, and we should be done by Saturday, I think.
As long as nothing else happens.
Yes, I'm crossing my fingers right now. You can't see it, but I'm crossing them. And I'm crossing my toes.
They'll be able to see it when you stream tomorrow on Friday.
Yes. And Path of Radiance, we have one more stream to go. So
next Wednesday.
Yeah, be sure to catch Wednesday. And also, I'll probably be streaming on Thursday. I could have streamed today, but I don't want to. I actually dropped a class. And so,
wait, you dropped a class?
Yeah.
Semester?
Yeah, I dropped my journalism class for various reasons, and so I actually freeze up almost my entire day, because on Thursday I used to go to class in the morning for pre-calculus, and then I would come home and then go back at like 5 o'clock for journalism. And now that I dropped that, I can actually stream on Thursday. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens then. I might have something that was sort of kind of not, but yes, definitely recommended to me from somebody, and we'll see if it happens that way. I know I'm being cryptic, but I'm always cryptic. Let's see.
Anything else of note for you?
Obviously, playing Street Fighter. Always play Street Fighter. And I'm actually going to use Street Fighter for my next speech. Interestingly enough, which is supposed to be a demonstration. I'm going to demonstrate like the basics on how to get into 2D fighting games in general, using Street Fighter as an example. And it should be interesting. I'm hoping it turns out okay. But that's due Tuesday, so I have to get moving. I mean,
all right.
I think that's about it. I mean, I got like one chapter done of Iron. That's about it.
Well, it was a pretty important chapter, I would say.
Yes. Yes, it was.
And if you want to know why I say it's important, read it.
Fucking read it.
All right. You can't see it right now, but I'm cracking my knuckles because as usual, I got a lot to say.
Oh boy, I'm strapped in.
All right. Well, first things first. Movies. The only movie of note was the one I picked up this week from the store, and that was Big Hero 6. Oscar-winning Best Animated Film of the Year, and its animated short that came before it won Best Animated Short Film. Because, just in case you guys didn't know, since the last stream we had the Oscars.
Oh yeah.
Or last podcast we had the Oscars.
Forgot
Which
about
was
that.
I only cared about the animated stuff. Because I didn't really care about any of the films that were up for any of the major awards. And so that was, as usual, very good because of course, I wasn't going to just buy it and store it away. I had to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Good, great movie. And if you haven't seen it yet, you should. Let's see. Now, in terms of gaming, I still addicted to playing my mobile game of One Piece Treasure Cruise. But on Tuesday, I picked up Dragon Ball Xenoverse. Woo! And so I haven't gotten much done in the game yet because for various reasons, and I'm not going to go into right now because it's all my what I have to say is long enough. And it was a little bit of an adjustment because it has a slightly different control system than the previous one.
Yeah, it does.
But it's very fun. But it also, depending on who you are, you might have issues with it. Like, for instance, as you all know, the big draw of the game is to create the character, and then you can go on these missions, and you as your created character can interact with other people online in like the community group, like the city that you're based in the game thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is that you have to go to a certain, place in the city if you want to go do the verse, like the verses. Like if I came over to your house, if you came over to my house to play the game and we wanted to play against each other, I'd have to go into the game and then go to a particular part of the city to do it.
Huh.
Which is, I guess, annoys some people because you can't directly from the main menu choose, a verse battle.
That's weird.
Yeah, it is a little weird. Now, but the created character thing is, I like a lot.
What did you choose for race?
Well, originally I only thought there was going to be 3 races, but they actually had 5.
Well, they had the Frieza, the Namekians, humans, Saiyans, and what was the other one?
Majin. I thought it was only going to be humans that had the like half Saiyans, because I remember it was like the whole thing was that this idea had come from the failed Dragon Ball Z Online game, so I thought it was only going to be Namekians, human and Majin, and then humans who descend from Saiyans.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. So anyway, it was... Sorry, that was unrelated. I'll tell you about that later.
Okay.
Anyway, and so as you had your Namek, so you could have been a Frieza race. Literally, they called it Frieza.
Mm-hmm. I know.
You had Namekian, and then Earthling, Saiyan, and Majin. And both the Majin, the Earthling, and the Saiyan, you could then choose male or female.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the one issue or not necessarily an issue, but a thing that people pointed out was the fact that if you choose the male Majin, it's only the Fat Boo. You can't have like It's either Fat Boo, slightly fatter Boo, because you can change like the body build, like because there's different body types. So it's either Fat Boo, slightly fatter Boo, or slightly less fat Boo. Okay, but the female one is the skinny one, and looks to be more based off of the Kid Boo design. Like in its generic height, like the base height they use and like the base like measurements seem to be more on the Kid Boo, based off Kid Boo.
Okay.
Now I picked female Saiyan for one reason and one reason only, because I want to have a female Super Saiyan.
Right.
And because that's the one thing. Now they offered you a couple, like, and of course I had to make sure I gave her one of the long hairstyles, and there were two hairstyles that were long and that actually went past your shoulders. The only other ones that were sort of long was the ones based off androids 18 and 17, which aren't long enough for me. I mean, there was a couple other ones, but they were like in pigtails. No, I just wanted long hair because I want to see a long-haired Super Saiyan, just because, and it not be Super Saiyan 3. Right. And without even realizing it, I ended up giving her Yamcha's hairstyle from the Saiyan Saga. But you can change the height. They have a variety of different eyes you can choose from, pupils. You can change colors. The nose, you can have different noses, different mouth and jaw combinations, different ears. So it was a lot, and of course you can even choose from a variety of voice packs, like voice sets, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
But at this point in the game, so far in the game, or at least up to the point I'm in, she only says one thing. Everything else is just like grunts, taking damage, and the occasional naming a name of an attack that you do. But it's still fun, and then before you name it, and then before you enter the game, you choose. It asks you like what do you prefer? What fighting style do you prefer? It'll say, "Oh, do you prefer to be up and close? Do you prefer to be far away, or do you prefer a mix?" Which affects what moves you start with.
Right.
Because if you pick up and close, then you're mostly if not all of your moves will be melee moves. Whereas if you choose long distance, say you'll get probably all energy attacks. But I picked the mix because I do like doing both. Some combination of both. So, and what's interesting this time, I think this is actually an improvement, is the system of how to use ultimates, or how you initiate your ultimates and your super attacks. With the super attack, you pull them up like a menu of them by clicking your super attacks. You click the R2 button and it'll pull up a little menu of your up to 4 super attacks that you could have. And then you just push either circle, square, X, or triangle to choose the one you want to use.
Right.
Which I thought simplifies it very well.
Yeah, definitely.
And then, if you want to use an ultimate, you have to push pull up your ultimate menu. You have to click R2 and L2 at the same time, and then click the corresponding button to use it. Which I think makes it much simpler. But if people who play a lot of the DBZ games might find it a little of an adjustment. Having to learn all the various button combinations. But there's also what was interesting is, and then as you go through the game, the traditional like quests type mission like game where you'll have your main quests, which are called time patrols, that will advance the story, and then as you do main missions, you'll unlock side missions, which are called parallel world quests in this game, and you can technically do all the main missions in a row without doing any of the side quests. But if you want to level up your character enough to be able to handle the main quests, you do the side quests.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, they're not really. That's why they're not really side quests. They're like training missions, I guess you could call them, because the whole big deal is about you trying to fix the timeline. The main mission has you dealing with major points in history that have been altered majorly and usually require like a multi-part battle to fix it. Whereas the Parallel World Quest is usually just one battle that is considered a small fissure, a small blip in time that needs to be fixed. Which is interesting. Like, for instance, the first Parallel World mission was kind of quick because it was just a battle against Raditz. But the arrival of the Saiyans was much longer. And it was interesting to see how they changed certain things. Because as we all know, the history is supposed to be changed. But in the trailers, you didn't actually get to see, like, storyline-wise, what certain things were changed that you have to now correct.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for instance, in the Raditz one, because the whole idea is that when you see them engulfed in that, like, purple energy, that showcases, oh, they've been changed. They're supposed to be stronger than they originally were, and have some knowledge, I guess, of what happens. Like, for instance, Raditz instead this time dodges Gohan and doesn't get hit by him. And then when he gets trapped by Goku with the full Nelson, he's able to break out of it just before the special beam cannon hits, which then kills Goku, and then before Piccolo can counter, he kills Piccolo.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting. And what was also interesting was that you saw one version of the history at like the result of the history being changed, and then when you see your character enter on the scene, you see something else about to happen. Like, for instance, the whole thing with him breaking out and killing Goku and Piccolo simultaneously was what you saw before you went inserted yourself in there. But when he dodged, but then when you go in, Gohan is dodged by Raditz, and he goes to kill Gohan, but you save Gohan at the last. Your character then comes in and saves Gohan at the last second.
Yep.
Which is, traditional anime stuff, traditional hero gig.
Mm-hmm.
So and I can't wait to play more because, one of the other things you do is you encounter in this city that these time patrollers live in. You encounter legendary heroes that you can train with to be your master, so that you'll be able to learn their techniques. Like, I'm currently training with Krillin, so I'm learning I learned his combo. I learned destruct, and then now I learned his destruct. I also know his destructo disc technique.
Mm-hmm.
And I also learned Kamehameha, because everyone learns Kamehameha.
Yeah.
And in terms of ultimate attacks, I don't have anything that good yet. Like, I only have two. One was just is like some full power barrage type technique where you power up and then you just hit the guy a bunch of times. And the other one is Vegeta's energy volley technique, cool, that almost every character starts with. Really? but that's besides the point. You should definitely try to, if you have the opportunity to pick this game up, it's a must. And what's interesting is that Team 4-Star yesterday started a Let's Play, a Team 4-Star Plays Xenoverse, and it's already it took them. They didn't even get past. They barely got past the first tutorial fight. They got through maybe the tutorial fight, and that was it, because they spent so much time on the character creation, and of course they had to make the character funny looking.
Mm-hmm.
They created a male Majin Buu, but they gave him the fattest possible you can make him, and then made him as short as possible. So a really short, fat Buu that they had, and his colors, they made him very bright colored, like clothing, and then friggin' named him Dumpling. So if you haven't, you should probably check it out on their website. I didn't get a chance to watch part 2 today because I was at work, but it's just funny.
Yeah, one of the YouTubers I watch played the game, and he picked a Frieza warrior.
Yeah, see, the thing is they said when Team 4-Star was creating their character, they said, "Oh, should we do Saiyan?" Nah, everyone's gonna do Saiyan.
Mm-hmm.
But see, the thing is that when I've encountered the other players, because the other players' characters are in the city as NPCs.
Yeah.
And most of them are either Frieza race or Majin race.
They're all thinking the same thing. Everybody's gonna pick a Saiyan.
So, anyway, and there's a decent amount of Namekians too. But the game's only just started, and there's probably a limit to what people I see. I'm probably only seeing the people in maybe in my in my city, maybe, or maybe my state,
Probably.
Because if not, now, because last time I played was before I saw the Team 4-Star Plays first video part. But even though there's a good possibility I probably won't find them, I'm going to see if I can find Dumpling. Just so I can try and friend them.
Mm-hmm.
Which they're probably going to get tons of friend requests. Because what you can do is you can team up with other players' characters to try, to do missions.
Yeah, that's cool.
So, to help you out with your parallel world quests if they're a little too tough.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, definitely worth picking up if you can. And I'm looking at, even though I can't see, I'm looking at you, Strider. If you can, you should pick it up.
Well, that's way down the list.
What do you mean way down the list? What other games would you want first?
There's a lot of shit I would want first.
Alright, name a few.
Alright. Probably the Dragon Age games. Let's see. I would rather get a Ninja Storm first. J-Stars.
Well, now you're assuming that the next time you'll be able to buy a game is when J-Stars comes out.
Well, that's probably the next. That's
We don't even. They haven't. All we know is it's coming out over the summer.
That's being generous. It's the next time I'm going to be able to buy a game, at least new, or even close, or somewhere near a $50 price range, even.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's besides the point. Anyway, so, and let me see. In terms of TV, in terms of TV, I watch my usual stuff. Now this week I'm going to review the Agent Carter thing as a whole because they've had their finale this week.
Mm.
And I wanted to wait till the end because originally it was perceived at being like a 7 or 8 episode miniseries type thing, but this last episode was referred to as a season finale and not a series finale.
Huh.
And they even set up the plot for the next season.
Weird.
So I guess it's going to be a thing. Like this time next year, they'll do another one, which I would thoroughly enjoy because I really enjoyed it because, you know, I liked I like their Agents of Shield show, but what's more unique about this is that, you know, originally, yes, it's a little disappointing because originally we thought that this was going to be the story of how Shield was formed, and it will eventually get there, but it's not there yet. Shield isn't on the radar yet.
Okay.
But makes this series more interesting is that more so than Agents of Shield, it's non-super involved. Like, Agents of Shield started to get a little involved because it directly gets affected by the movies, and there's occasional super-powered beings in it, whereas Agent Carter is more a spy move type show, because there's not really anything super powered involved. It's just, you know, advanced technology and, you know, trying to figure out what the bad guys are doing. Which I thought was all the while. So the main idea is that to summarize the plot of the first season, it's Howard Stark's stuff is stolen. Like someone steals a bunch of his tech from one of his tech vaults, and uses that technology for nefarious purposes. So he gets blamed for it and is deemed a fugitive. So he tasks Agent Carter with clearing his name. Now she works for the SSR, but she tries to clear his name like as a side thing. And it's interesting. And the way they set up and they have the original actor for Howard Stark that they had in the Captain America 1, and the Agent Carter is still played by the same actress who they had in Captain America 1, which I liked. And the other characters I thought were well cast and well acted. And what was interesting is that to set up for the next season, they had the main villain of this season. You see him being put in prison, and conveniently he gets placed with a villain from his cellmate is one of the villains from the first Cap movie, the scientist, the head scientist for the Red Skull, who, if any of you have seen the Winter Soldier, which I thought most of you would have if you're a fan of Marvel, he's the guy in the computer in Winter Soldier who puts his brain in the computer. I don't know. Do you remember that part?
Yeah, of course.
So, well, that guy is conveniently the cellmate of the main villain of this season. So they're cellmates. So that's kind of gets you intrigued as to, what are they going to come up with? What are they going to scheme in prison to do for the second season? The first season's climactic villain plot was a revenge plot that involved using a gas that would make people kill each other.
Interesting.
I mean, but if you want to know more details about it, you should watch it. It was very good. So, and it's only like 7 or 8 episodes, so if you guys get a chance, check it out. But that's like I just wanted to take my time to review that because I've been watching it weekly, and I just figured put that all together, review it as a whole. Now, anime. What? I don't. it's hard to say where I should begin with my review of Kill la Kill. All I can say is that it's definitely earned its TVMA rating. Definitely. First of all, I mean, if the nudity and blood and violence wasn't enough, the language definitely there. And the first half, like I said last week, was very good, but the second half just blew my mind. Like the trigger struck gold again when they made Kill la Kill. And I mean, between the plot twists and the fights, and the points where they just the heroes, the protagonists were, up against the wall. It was just, but there was also but at the same time there was a lot of comedic and ridiculous moments too. And the guys at Trigger just know how to blend like our violence with art, with the comedy, with good, clean, family, fun comedy and ridiculousness.
Yeah.
Like, now, I'm not gonna. And so, it's definitely I'm definitely glad that I watched it. Definitely.
Yeah.
Now, I haven't necessarily figured out exactly where I'm going to place on my list, but it's definitely going to be top 10. But it's definitely have to think exactly, because my top 10 animes are pretty, pretty good list. So it's definitely going to be tough to see where I'm going to put it.
Wow.
But
it gets to top 10, huh? Wow.
What do you mean, wow? You have your system, I have mine.
Well, I'm not criticizing. I'm just...
You're criticizing me. That is criticizing me.
No, I'm just surprised.
You're surprised that you don't think that it's top, that because what do you rank it? Is it part of your B, or is it part of your C?
I think I have it in my C list, actually.
What?
Let me look real quick. I don't get me wrong. I really did enjoy Kill la Kill a lot, but I would honestly, yeah, it's on my C list, but it's probably closer to the top of the C tiers. But you have to remember, I also have Naruto on that C list.
Well, yeah. So, I'm probably, all right, here we go. Alright, so, that is going to have to, I definitely like it, I'm pretty sure do you like it better than their other show, Gurren Lagann?
Hell no. Gurren Lagann is in my top 10, probably.
You don't have a top 10.
Well,
you have an A tier, and a B tier, and a C tier.
I have a top 5, and then 6 to 10 is very blurred. But Gurren Lagann is in that. For instance, my 6 to 10 is blurred between G Gundam, Gundam Wing, Shaman King, Gurren Lagann, Toriko, Bleach, Hitman Reborn, Kuroko no Basket, and Hunter x Hunter, which are more than 4, but I don't know which to put there, which 4. So, yeah.
But there was some really nice plot. I would say plot twists. I would say between the one person backstabbing another person, and then one person's lineage being revealed.
Mm-hmm.
And so, But of course, like I said, there's also several ridiculous moments, like,
everything with Mako.
Everything with Mako is ridiculous.
Yes.
But some other really ridiculous moments that are like, wait, they actually put this in a anime? Like, it pushed lines. Like, really? Because, like, for instance, a particular scene in a particular mansion with a particular bath.
Oh, God.
I'm not going to say much more.
When I saw that scene, I was like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
I was like, wait, you really? Did she really do that to her daughter?
Yeah, she did. And it looked really weird.
Especially at the end where it's like, they had the freaking, like, nervous system, like, lighting up, like, oh!
Oh, yeah.
Like, what? Like, okay, for that medicinal bath to be most effective and to purify you, she had to do that? Like, really? And then another particular scene where she once again is holding her daughter in an underground cage, and then just that whole scene with her is just weird.
Yeah.
A little like, really?
And there the one time where she was wearing Junketsu and she like was like feeling up her crotch and shit, like that was.
It's weird.
I'm like, this is a little weird for me.
However,
and we're fans of Toriko, okay?
Well, yeah, we can't really complain when especially with the current Toriko arc. But anyway, and then some other interesting things to note is the fact that, in my mind, the thing about this second half of the series that blew my mind more than anything, and I actually realized that this particular thing actually showed itself in the for a brief moment in the first half of the series, was Ragyo. I think that's how it's pronounced. Ragyo?
Ragyo, yeah.
Ragyo Kirin's theme. Like, it's just on a whole new level of awesomeness. It's just, words can't describe how good it is, or at least how I feel how good it is.
I'll have to go back and listen to it again. It's been a while.
But it's very good, and it just made my day. So if you haven't had a chance to watch it, Kill la Kill yet, you should definitely watch it.
I agree. It's great. It's very good. Go watch it.
As long as you can get past the ridiculousness about the clothing aspect, I'm pretty sure you can handle it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I covered. Oh, the only thing I didn't mention about the TV was the fact that this week, for those of you, if any of you are wrestling fans, we had another pay-per-view, it wasn't I would feel it was an okay pay-per-view, but I feel in this podcast at least to mention two important things that happened that were pretty interesting. One was, of course I don't know how many of you have heard of him, but the wrestler Sting confronted Triple H and called him out to a WrestleMania match, or challenged to a WrestleMania match. Which, for those of you guys who know the history of the two wrestlers is big, because Triple H was a huge guy for the WWE, whereas Sting was the big guy for WCW and the whole Monday Night Wars thing. So that's why that match is super interesting. But honestly, and the other important thing to note was how a current superstar performed a trolling segment that trolled the fandom in such a way that it would even please the Troll King Sosuke Aizen himself. Now, I don't know. You might not recognize the name. You probably don't know the name. You most likely don't know the name of the new wrestler. But the wrestler, his name was Bray Wyatt, and what he was trolling was an appearance by the Undertaker, which I'm pretty sure you've probably heard of. I hope. I think. I don't know.
Well, everybody should know the Undertaker at least.
So well, basically what happened is you hear the room gets dark, and then you hear the Undertaker's blue light, and you hear the Druids come out and start doing their chanting, and next thing you know, they start bringing out a casket, and Undertaker's theme hits.
Oh.
And everyone's like flipping out, like, oh my god, the Undertaker's back, oh my god. And then the casket gets brought to the ring, and they open the casket. Now, of course, the camera at the time, if you're opening the casket, it would be on the side, where the hinge is, so you don't see who's in it. And then you figure, oh, it's going to turn around. You're going to, as the camera starts to move, so you can see who's in the casket. Like, Undertaker's going to pop out. Undertaker's going to pop out. And then next thing you know, all the lights go back to normal, and Bray Wyatt pops out. And he makes his official challenge, or should I say, and calls out the Undertaker for a match. Which, if any of you know, since wrestling is scripted, that means that the reason why he challenged him is because it's going to happen. Undertaker hasn't technically on screen accepted the match, but they're not going to start a storyline if they're not going to follow through it. So,
isn't he supposed to be retired?
No, not yet. He's almost there. No. He's almost there.
Okay.
Because last year he lost his streak. And there's a lot of discussions, especially in my that going on about what their plan is for the future.
Oh yeah, everybody was all pissed off that he lost finally.
Yes, but it makes, in the end, I know as much as I hate it, in the end it makes sense, because one of the main reasons why he did it was because if he didn't lose his streak, people would keep asking him to defend it.
Yeah.
And he wants to retire.
True.
Now, what makes it interesting is this new guy, Bray Wyatt, is being built up, or is trying to build himself up as being, quote unquote, the new face of fear. And Undertaker was the former face of fear.
Mm-hmm.
And they're both similar. And he says, "Oh, I'm gonna also, some other." Basically, it's making it sound like their match between the two of them is, I guess, going to be like a passing of the torch. Like Bray Wyatt's supposed to be, even though his character has a lot of differences with the Undertaker in terms of the difference in their characters. They're trying to make Bray Wyatt has a lot of similarities too. So they're trying, I guess, to make this a passing of the torch almost. I think, possibly trying to build up this character to be the next Undertaker type.
Huh.
Be the guy who, Lord of the Dead, undead, the face of fear, stuff like that. Now, of course, this guy already lost a WrestleMania match, so he's not going to be. They're not going to. We all know they're never going to try and attempt another streak again. Never.
Yeah.
The streak itself happened by accident, because it just so happened that a couple years in a row, Undertaker wins WrestleMania and doesn't lose a WrestleMania match. And the next thing you know, he gets like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, we have a thing now. They suddenly realize, oh, we got a thing to do.
Right.
So, those were the two interesting things about that. So, for you wrestling fans out there. And The other thing I was thinking, I'm thinking of, I can think of that happened was apparently the Marvel's Troll Master Robert Downey Jr. sent out a parent tweet this week saying, I don't remember exactly what day of the week it was, but apparently he sent out a tweet that's saying 8 days from the time of the tweet, Marvel's apparently going to make some huge announcement. And which of course sparks many speculation. And the most common theory is that due to the fact, now of course 8 days from then would be March, because March starts on Sunday. The common theory is that because Civil War's production starts in April, that they might be, if what he says is true and they do and make some major announcements soon, that it might be the casting of their Spider-Man.
Interesting.
That's the common belief at this point of the fan, or it's the highest, the most prevailing theory.
I wouldn't mind if it was Garfield, but we'll see.
Garfield.
Andrew Garfield.
They're not casting him.
Did they specifically say they're not going to bring him back?
Yeah, because they're once again they're going to try and differ themselves from the previous.
Oh, okay.
There'd be no point if they were even considering him, they wouldn't. There'd be no point to it. No, they're not doing him, and they're obviously not going to do the other guy.
Yeah, they're not going to do Toby. Toby was shit anyway, but I didn't mind Garfield so much. Like, Andrew Garfield was not a good Peter Parker. I thought he was a good Spider-Man, though. I don't know. I just hope whoever they get...
One of the other reasons why that this casting choice is such a huge deal, other than the fact that they still have yet to get a good Spider-Man out, is the fact that people are now saying that because Marvel is helping, that there's a possibility they might do Ultimate Marvel version of Spider-Man, which isn't Peter Parker.
They better do Peter Parker. I don't like the other. The other Spider-Man's is just not the same. Yeah,
it's a black guy. I mean, I'm not saying as racist, but
yo, nigga, you racist.
I'm not. I'm just saying is that I don't remember the guy's name.
Yeah, I don't remember either. I just remember when they killed off Peter Parker. I'm like, what? I never read it, but people were just going nuts over the internet about it. Like, Peter Parker dead.
So, yeah, if that's true and they do make some announcement, that's what people hope it's going to be, because they want to know. So they can start fanboy raging over the fact that, no, we don't want this person. We wanted somebody else.
Right.
But then again, Marvel has done very well with their casting of heroes so far.
Yeah, I'll say.
Another thing to note, though, about his tweet was that he tweeted out 3 pictures. One, and all 3 of them were posters for Age of Ultron. One was a poster of just Iron Man, and the other 2 was a full, the other 2 were posters of the entire Avengers team, and within the top of within the top of it, of both of them, was a shadowy figure that is in the shape of Vision, but you can't see what he looks like yet. They don't want to let us see what he looks like yet.
Huh.
Because for some reason they want to keep his look under wraps. I don't know why. It's not like they're trying to hide that he's in the movie. No, they've already said that he's in the movie.
I don't know.
They just, for some reason, haven't decided not to let us see what he looks like yet. But the reason why he posted out 2 of posters of the entire team is that there was a slight variation that makes sense, and the variation is which Avengers member is in the front, or in the most frontward looking position. One Captain America's in the front.
Mm-hmm.
The other one, Iron Man's in the front. You know, kind of really hinting once again at the whole Civil War storyline.
Yep.
That they're preparing for.
Yeah.
So, it's definitely going to... Can't wait. Just can't wait for Age of Ultron. Looks so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my hype for it is not the same as it was for the first Avengers, but I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Well, this... Yeah, of course it's... it's... You can't... the hype for the first Avengers was like, oh my god! This one's just like, awesome!
Yeah, I was in like I can't fucking wait mode since like 2008, and it came in like 2012 or something.
Yep.
So,
yeah, it was 2012.
So I'm like, okay, and it's finally here, and it was amazing. I'm like, thank God, because if it was shit, I would have been like, you fucking teased us all this time for this.
Yep. But luckily it was a hit, and they've been pretty good so far.
Yeah.
With their casting choices in movies. They weren't necessarily perfect movies, but they were still very good. They were still good movies.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm saying this as a whole, because some of their movies I thought were amazing, others not so much.
Yeah.
But everyone has different opinions, so that's why I'm generalizing it by saying, overall they've done pretty good.
My least favorite, honestly, of the Avengers story arc has been Hulk. 2008.
Well, that's because they recasted him from the 2003 version for their 2008 version, but then they decided when it came time to do the Avengers, they were going to recast him again, and we haven't gotten a Mark Ruffalo solo Hulk film.
But I mean, in general, like
see.
The 2008 film was fine, but it wasn't like on the same caliber as the rest of the films, I think.
But unfortunately, I feel like they could do a better Hulk movie with Mark Ruffalo, but they're not gonna do one with Mark Ruffalo. He's just gonna be a Avengers only character.
Probably.
With having maybe no, they said that because I guess they got to keep some of the people, for the Avengers movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Hulk makes sense to do that.
They're probably also going to do Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver are probably also going to remain as part of the Avengers only. Because they're not getting a solo film, obviously.
No.
There's no need for them.
Right.
So it's definitely going to be an interesting year for movies in general, too.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the last thing that I must mention is the video that is blowing up the net right now. Now, I don't know if you've seen it yet or even heard of it yet, but it's blowing up all over the internet. It is a 15-minute video that is a short film that someone made of a R-rated Power Rangers movie.
I haven't seen it.
It is, in my opinion, they went for a hard R.
When you say blowing up over the net, how many views are we talking?
I don't remember. I don't usually view count, but it's like
on YouTube?
It started out as a small thing, and now everyone's talking about it.
Is it on YouTube?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I would have thought I would have heard of something like that. I mean, if it has over like 2 million views, then we're talking like definite has blown up.
Well, first of all, you know, obviously you have various sites for it, but the current YouTube video, this one is now it has now. The fact is that it's many people, other people have made, videos of it. Like you have friggin' Machinima talking about it. You have friggin' Tommy himself making a video about his opinion on it.
Mm-hmm.
And so you should definitely give it a look.
Huh.
Because it's definitely something to before it, because it's getting really popular on the internet, but at the same time, we don't know how long before the people who do Power Rangers decide we've had enough.
Mm-hmm.
Because not that it's ever going to happen, but this people are like, trying to say, oh, this means they might actually, it's getting really popular. People are talking about it. There's a possibility that they might even try and make a full length version. So it's definitely a hard R. I mean, there's a lot of blood and violence. I mean,
cool.
First of all, they change out their traditional blasters for machine guns. And that's just one point that I'm going to mention. And so it's definitely something you should try and check out if you can, because it's very dark. I mean, that's what they were going for, was a very dark version of a Power Rangers film.
Huh. Cool.
To showcase what they think a dark version should be. But I guess that's just about it.
All right, then.